Hello and welcome to tonight's LOL Esports Roundup, where we cover games from all four major regions over the last 24 hours, and then preview tomorrow's schedule in the LPL, LCK, and LEC. Predictions: I'm 110 and 39. That includes all the games on the board. My predictions are in a members only tier. Recap: LCS last night. TSM Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians would win. They go to 4-2 as TSM fall to 3-3. Gory had the most damage for Golden Guardians, going 229, 37%. Stixay was MVP with an 821 KDA. He would come away with a penta in this game on Aphelios. Wild Turtle 426, 29% of damage for TSM. A takeaway here for sure is that Wild Turtle's had a good start to the season. Honestly, you really think about it relative to his team, he's one of the better AD carries right now in terms of performance. Like, Prince isn't performing, FBI isn't really performing, but Wild Turtle continues to put decent KDAs up and puts DPM in. And frankly, that's all you really need to do. However, in a mid-game team fight, Stixay on the top side of the Rift, I think it was for a Baron, would have a penta on Aphelios, and that was a big diffie in this game. That's what really turned it around for Golden Guardians and gave them the snowball necessary to win this one. Once again, I felt like top lane was pretty irrelevant. Haunts or Licorice. Boogie River. River obviously doing his thing alongside Gory. Gory dealing a ton of damage, but not getting the kills for it, which is okay. That is what it is. Insanity played Graves mid again. That needs to go away now. Put it away. You played it once, you won with it. Now you have the threat of it, right? If you continue to play it, people are going to realize it's not a good pick, which I think they have. And now you lost all the power you had in that pick that won you one game, and you looked okay on it at that time. So, now it's not a threat in a 4-5 of a draft where somebody might say, do we want to ban Graves? Or maybe if you pick Graves in the first rotation and you're threatening a flex, the opposition's going to be like, if they flex it, it's not a good pick mid anymore, so we don't have to worry about it. Like, I think they have shot themselves in the foot playing it so much. Immortals 100 Thieves, both are 2-4 now as 100T win. Doublelift 405, 34% of damage is MVP. Busio 019, so the bot lane 4114. Tactical 212, 37% of damage in the loss. Quid looking a lot better in this one on the Ari, finding moments to get some kills, get a double kill even, I think maybe even a triple kill at another point. Just the better team. Closer looked really good. They gave him Wukong, which is a mistake. He can only play a few champions, and Wukong is on that list. So instead of triple banning Closer, they got cute in draft. Immortals probably should have done that, especially for Kenvy's sake, because Kenvy, I don't think is very good at this point in his career. Maybe he won't be good at all ever. I think that's a possibility. Apparently his solo queue numbers are really good, but his stage presence is not. And in that is kind of a classic thing of solo queue can only tell you so much. Some players simply can't play on a team on stage in these circumstances. And Immortals Treats died like 7 times in this one. He is dying a shit ton in the games. I know he's playing Engage, but it is what it is. I thought Fleshy was better. So, yeah, what are you going to do if you're Immortals? Lost a couple games now in a row, falling back down to earth to where they are expected to finish. And 100 Thieves getting a win, it's not a shock. TL, EG. EG win, they're 5-1, 24th in the power rankings. TL are now 18th at 4-2. Armeo was my MVP. Jojo Pune 3-0-15. Oh shoot, I kicked the board. Still on the screen? Yeah, still on the screen. Jojo Pune 3-0-15, 31% of damage on Ari. Unforgiven 5-0-7 at 80 carry. Summit 2-5-1, 31% of damage on Gnar and top lane. If the Gnar is leading in damage with a KDA of 2-5-1, that team had a rough go of it. Early game they did well, then they threw hard. As EG really took over, Armeo, Jojo Pune making things happen all around the Rift. Armeo getting the kills, Jojo Pune getting the KDA and the damage, so I end up giving it to Armeo because Armeo's outperforming my expectations. And with that, I think I should give him some more credit. As EG, the Island of Misfit Toys, continues to perform. Unforgiven doing exceptional here. Playing the bot 2v2 fine against Eon Core JJ. Unforgiven Isla getting better. Revenge doing his thing in top lane. Sure, Summit did deal a lot of damage, but Revenge ends up coming away with the win. What's there to say? TL went 1-2 this weekend after 3-0, 4-2. Still working their things out. Maybe they aren't as good as EG, though, frankly. Harry and Eon maybe are only so good. I'm not going to get cute about this. I don't think Harry is a very young player. He had an opportunity. He deserved a chance. He had done well in Academy, but I've not been impressed by his LCS performances. And he did play in OS, I believe, for a little while. So it's not like he is very inexperienced. So they need more out of him, in my opinion. FlyQuest Dignitas. Dignitas win. They're 3-3. FlyQuest 0-6. I'm sure if you told somebody these were the records of these two teams before the split started, they would have said you were lying. They would have said there is no way Dignitas is the 3-3 team. But they are. Rich, MVP, Quinn top, 329, 39% of damage. Jensen, 3-1-10 in mid. Vikla, 4-3-3, 33% of damage in the loss. I did call out Vikla yesterday in my video, saying, he has not really performed in these losses, has not been a player I've mentioned very much this split. He played well yesterday in the loss. I thought that he found opportunities to get his damage in. Prince, on the other hand, not so much. Impact is extremely weak side. And Spica playing, I think, Ivern yesterday. It was not a good situation for FlyQuest, as they are complete. It's ruined. It's ruined. I have to say, I don't think FlyQuest are a threat for anything. I mean, now their confidence is shot, and they know the pressure is on them to get a win. So it's only going to get worse. And historically, I said this after the playoffs. Actually, I said this before the playoff series for Prince, and then after. In big moments, I feel like Prince really doesn't show up. And with that, if the pressure is on, maybe Prince doesn't show up in this one. I'd like to think D+ Kia, formerly known as Damwon Kia, Damwon Gaming, have a good eye for talent. They've won a lot of championships. They won a couple championships. They've won international events. They've done very well for years. They allowed Prince to leave many years ago. And I believe that is no coincidence. Maybe they, Prince did very well last year in LCK. I sang his praises. I thought Liv Sandbox, he was fantastic. He's an MVP candidate, if not the MVP of the split. I think I picked him MVP of the split, and I wouldn't change that. But in the playoffs, he didn't perform. In the playoffs in the LCS, he didn't perform. And that's the thing. Now, C9 NRG. C9, 15th in the power rankings, 5-1. Get upset by NRG, are now 2-4. Dokla, 5-5-4, 27% of damage on Jason top lane. Palafox, 6-0-10 in mid on Azir. Fudge, 5-5-1, 31% of damage in the loss for Cloud9. NRG looked fantastic. Palafox making things happen, being excellent. FBI finding moments to get involved. And really, C9 just had a bad read on this one. Blabber's win rate on Vi is awful. I'm not a big Vi fan. I've said that before. I'll say it again. Obviously, there are moments where some players play it well. I think I went over that yesterday with Clid from HLE. Finding moments to make Vi very effective, but it was also very inty at the same time. Like, you're playing a glorified support in the way you're playing Vi, playing her for her ulti in the lockdown, which is what it is. But at the same time, C9 are better than that. They don't need to do that. So for them to do that, that's unfortunate. NRG finding moments to impact the game in a big way. Palafox, obviously, like I said, contracts did his job. Dokla going 5-5-4 isn't great, and Fudge going 5-5-1 kind of just shows how bloody it was of a game that both top laners died a handful of times. LPL Team World Elite, 12th in the power rankings, I believe. 4-2 now. Lost to Thunder Talk, or 2-7, 2-1. UCal was MVP, going 20 kills, 3 deaths, 33 assists in 3 games, 30% of damage. Yao Yao had the best KDA at 4-3-37. Hope went 11, 9, 13, 34% of damage in the loss. UCal was extremely effective in this one. I believe he played Akali and LeBlanc in games 2 and 3. The game 1 champion is escaping me, but he was excellent on that as well. I just can see him just going all over the rift, making things happen, like in team fights, being very, very aggressive. And that was a big deal. Like, UCal needed to perform after countless series where UCal kind of has been nowhere to be found. And I feel like he is the big reason Thunder Talk has struggled, was, like, in addition to the fact that they have, like, a revolving door in bot lane and Wanfeng is riding the pine. But UCal is the best player on the team without Wanfeng in there, and he hasn't done much, right? So that was a thing. He performed well. The bot lane did their job. 1XM found moments to succeed, found moments to get involved, found moments to get kills and clean up. Bechuan did some nice setup. Hoya was okay. I felt like Hoya and Cube were just doing their thing. There were moments, I think, where they exchanged solo kills throughout this series, but frankly, I didn't think that they were very impactful on the result of this one. FPX Anyone's Legend. Anyone's Legend go to 2-7 as they win 2-1 against FPX, who are 3-6. Harder went 9-3-12, 33% of damage in the win. ZDZ 6-2-4 in 3 games, so 10 KP in 3 games. Was my MVP. LWX 14-5-10, 40% of damage in the loss. That would scream, I tried my damnedest and I couldn't get it done. And that's unfortunate for LWX. That is a valiant effort. Game 1, Anyone's Legend won. ZDZ went 0-1-0. He split pushed on Gnar like you would not believe. Kind of like one of those things where somebody continues to go back to something and they're just going to keep going, and it doesn't matter how many times you swat them away. It doesn't matter how many times they fail. They're just going to keep going. And that's what ZDZ did in the bot lane. He cleared out the turrets. He tried to expose the Nexus, and then he just kept going. And he went again, and he went again, and he went again. Would recall, escape 2v1s, and then die once, and then take the Nexus via pretty much backdoor. So he got MVP for game 1 for that. I mean, persistence. Game 3, I thought he was the best player on the team. I thought he was excellent. I thought he was key to their win. And so in the 2 wins, I thought he was a difference maker, so he deserved MVP. Harder playing this well is a big deal into Care. I consider Care to be one of the better young mid laners in the LPL. So for Harder, another young mid laner with not nearly as many games on the docket, and I have had my criticisms, for him to outperform Care is noticeable. Jalahu not following up his series from the day before with a good result, playing LGD and Anyone's Legend back-to-back. You would like that to continue, but ZDZ got the better of him. Bot lane, I mean, like I said, LWX tried. What else is he going to do? iBoy Zora played. I'm not a big fan of that. I say it every time I see iBoy. I think ZQE should be playing. Jungle, Zhao Hao, Hacker. Zhao Hao, I mean, they both found their moments to do something. But really, I think these KDAs kind of show you just how slow these games were. I mean, the 2 people. The person that had the highest damage for Anyone's Legend, 21 KP over 3 games. LWX 24 over 3 games. Like, it was not a high kill affair. Weibo BLG. BLG win 2-1 as they go to 8-1, 4th in the power rankings. Weibo now 5-3 and 6th in the power rankings. Elk was my MVP, going 17-3-9, 29% of damage. Shun 5-5-18 in the jungle. Light 13-3-11, 29% of damage in the loss. So both AD carries having similar impact on the team relative to their squad and damage. Another thing I'm going to say, a lot of the games today in the East were slow, even LCS as well. Very slow games. The meta has slowed down in the kill department in the first 20 minutes. There was a lot of 3-3 kill games, 1-1 kill games, and things like that. Just like oh, we're just going to kind of slowly lose this, give a couple drakes, have no gold diff to be seen. So now I am behind 2 drakes. I don't have a gold lead, and it's 1-1. So I hate that. Some people would say, oh, it's because you can't appreciate slow game in the chess of it all. And the way I would respond to that is, a chess game, you have moves and counter moves. So if you're not countering the move, like if you take a drake and you're not, like, I don't know, trying to get a couple plates to get a gold lead, or make something happen in the kill department, or maybe get Rift Herald and take a couple plates that way, you've allowed somebody to get a drake for free. And that continues to happen in these games, and I don't really get it. Elk in team fights was excellent. Yagao played very well. Xiaohu played very well. Game 1, Weibo were fine. But unfortunately, in Game 3, when it came down to it, the Shy got picked off. That set up a 4v5 for Elder. And BLG won that fight because they had a 5v4 advantage. Once again, the Shy coming through as an inter, which is unfortunate. He played okay up until that point, but when push came to shove, he lost them the game. As far as elsewhere is concerned, Wei, I thought he was very good at times. I thought, honestly, he had better moments than Shun in this series. But Shun, in the end, had a nice KDA. So that's why he gets mentioned. But back to the slow game part, 23 kills from the jungler, 23 KP in a 3-game series. In the LPL, that's slow. LCK, Gen.g win 2-1 against D+. They're second in the power rankings, now 6-0. D+ 10th at 3-3. Pays was MVP, going 11-2-9, 28% of damage. Delight went deathless, 0-0-22, so the bot lane went 11-2-31 combined. Deft 4-4-5, 28% of damage in the loss. Peanut set the pace. Canyon was just trying to keep up. There were moments where he did. Obviously, a 2-1 score would indicate that, but I thought Peanut was a little bit more active than Canyon, which is not okay if you're Canyon. I thought picking Kana Jax in I think Game 3 was a terrible idea. Kana, I don't think, is very good, so to put your eggs in his basket, not the best move, especially because I thought Showmaker had some really nice moments. I thought his Azir at times really came through, and he was feeling himself today, so they should have probably put him on a carry and made Kana play something like Gragas, Sion, Malphite, something that we're used to seeing that's pretty predictable because he is not a threat to carry. Now, because really, I didn't think Doran was all that, dominant in top lane, so you could have put Kana on something that had mid to late game value, more so than the Jax, which wouldn't be fed because it's because Kana on it. But Paige was MVP because in team fights he did what he had to do. He looked very good in those moments and in the 2v2 as well. I think they even had a 2v2 kill. So Paige and Delight continue to look very good as Gen.g continue to set the pace in the LCK. After that, we had T1 KT, as KT would win 8th in the power rankings, now 5-1, as they 2-0 T1, who were 5th and are now 4-2. Aiming was MVP, going 23-1-13, 36% of damage. Keen, Deathless, 4-0-26. Gumayushi, 3-8-5, 31% of damage. I picked KT to win this in my predictions. I thought it'd be closer. It really wasn't. I thought that Keria played off. Honestly, T1 has not looked good for a little while here, win or loss. And that's why I did pick KT. I feel Keen is playing very well. I think BDD is feeling himself. He played Twisted Fate today. They're utilizing, when I keep saying Faker needs to play facilitators, and yes, he's carrying them to wins, but I still think Zeus is the better carry threat. KT are doing it right. They're putting BDD on Talia. They're putting him on Twisted Fate. They're putting him on Annie. They're putting him on facilitators and putting Keen on carries. And then Keen is going 4-0-26. Keen is gapping his opponents in CS, maybe not finding a way to impact the game later, which is another problem, but he is opening up those leads that should be executed on by a veteran of his stature. So, with that in mind, I feel like KT just have a better grasp of what wins right now, and T1 needs to follow suit. It isn't good. Guma, this is one of his worst series that we've seen in a long time. Usually he comes through and plays well in a loss. I didn't feel like he really did that today. LEC, SK, BDS. BDS win. They're 2-2. SK 1-3. Adam was MVP on K-Sante. Nuck 4-1-10, 30% of damage in the win. Sheo 608 on a Sejuani. Nuck played Syndra. Irrelevant 3-6-0, 35% of damage on Renekton. He tried to dive Adam in the early game, would get the solo kill, but die in the process, which partially made me consider Adam for MVP. Then I thought Adam played very well after that, was very key in team fights, finding moments to pick off Exakick to really skew the fight in BDS's favor. And then later on, sealing the deal with his tankiness and is one of the better bruisers in the meta on K-Sante. So I thought he played excellent. He was the difference maker. Knock on Syndra. Did have some really nice scatter of the weeks, especially around a Rift Herald fight, if I recall correctly. That I thought was very nice. But otherwise, I thought Adam was a big deal. Sheo was active. He even went to top lane because Irrelevant was trying to proxy the wave, and they made sure to answer that, which gave Sheo a solo kill. I thought that he was ahead of Marcoon by quite a bit, and Marcoon's claim to fame is playing very well facilitating. That's what I've liked about him in the past, and I feel like he has not done that at all this split to the level he needs to. Excel and Team Heretics. Excel win. They're 1-3. Heretics 3-1 and 21st in the power rankings. Abadage went 7-3-6, 30% of damage on Azir. Odawamne was MVP in his 500th game, going 6-0-5. Flackett 5-3-1, 30% of damage on Draven in the loss. Odo solo killed Evi a couple times in top lane. K-Sante and Renekton, same matchup as that one. K-Sante getting the better of it. Odo got after Evi in a big way, put him in a hole, and then was fine during team fights, did his job at a high level, being the experienced player he is. In terms of the jungle, I thought Peach and Yankos was kind of a wash, and frankly, Yankos needs to win that matchup. Abadage played excellent. I thought Vethio on Talia. I say it all the time, mid laners, we just talked about BDD. You're playing champions that get around the rift to make things happen, facilitator. Putting Vethio on Talia is fine, but if he does not facilitate, if he does not create, that pick is useless in my opinion. Now you just have a champion that you're trying to play in lane, then you could have played something else. You could have played something else if you want to do that. So was not impressed by that. I felt like that was a big difference in this game as well, was the fact that Abadage was allowed to scale and Vethio did not create an advantage with his global before Abadage scaled up. Koi and Fnatic. Fnatic win. They're 22nd in the power rankings. 3-1 now as Koi fell to 1-3. Razork was my MVP in the jungle. Excuse me. Humanoid 606, 34% of damage in mid. Noah 2011. Larson 132, 30% of damage in the loss. Fnatic had a really nice team comp. Razork on Wukong is one of his better champions, and he found ways to really get after it. I thought he really had some nice CC. His flanks were on point. Humanoid cleaning things up, dealing a ton of damage, important. Noah not dying, playing weak side alongside Trimby in a good fashion. Koi, Malring, a bit gapped in this one, not creating as much as he needed to, given the fact that he doesn't farm very much. His Genda into Oscarinen, that was a wash, if you will. You would have liked Sisgenda to do better in that one, similar to last time, if I recall correctly, but that did not occur. And Larson Humanoid's always a fun matchup, but Humanoid did better, frankly. Vitality G2, 14th in the power rankings, 3-1. Vitality 1-3, 23rd in the power rankings. Caps was MVP, going 8-2-6, 38% of damage on Azir. Yike 609 on Trundle, so they're getting creative in the draft. Perks 274, 31% of damage in mid. Dying a lot, trying very hard. Could not get it done. Bo was on Poppy. I didn't think he could keep up with Yike, whose Trundle looked very good. And when we see moments where Yike is on facilitator-oriented champions, more bruiser, tank-oriented champions, that's important for G2. We talked about C9 playing different things, playing the Vi. We talked about teams playing Insanity, playing Graves. You need to create threats. And when you win on them, you've created the threat. If you looked really good on it, and you can back off, find something else, and just keep it in the back of the opposition's mind. And that's what G2's been doing for the last 3 months. So that was okay. Broken Blade, I thought he made a case for MVP at times. I thought he played very, very well. Photon, nowhere to be really found. Bot lane, upset in the side lane, getting farmed, taking turrets as the team around him loses, kind of like that person at the table as the room around them burns. That's not great. So G2 playing very well through jungle, mid, caps. His shuffles were disgusting in this one. I thought he was very, very good on the Azir, the best Azir of the day, in my honest opinion. Astralis, Mad Lions win. They go to 4-0, 16th in the power rankings. Astralis 1-3. Elyoya was MVP. Karzi 817, 42% of damages. I believe he has over 1,000 DPM across the first 4 games of the split. Niski 4-0-13 in mid on a Gragas. Finn 135, 27% of damage on a Scion in top lane. If your Scion leads your team in damage, you definitely lost. And Finn was the one to do that. I thought Leader was useless on the Akali. I thought he was very bad today. And frankly, it was really Kabe and Jonghoon that were the only two that really were doing anything. And then Jonghoon was getting picked off in the jungle, so that's not good. Elyoya, similar to Razork on the Wukong, was very effective throughout team fights, and I thought he was the difference maker there. That really ended up giving Mad Lions the advantages they needed to take objectives and win. Chasey, more relevant than Finn in team fights. I mean, what are you going to do? Really? Like, Mad Lions just know how to win. They know how to win domestically. It is what it is. Astralis falling back down to earth, but there are a few teams like that. You see BDS winning a game. Kind of watching to see if Koi ends up turning it around. I still think that they're a team that could easily make it to Worlds. They just figure out a way to get on a run, and it can happen. Well, maybe not without Trimby. So, that is a factor. But yeah, so that's it for the recap part of this video. Now on to the sneak peek. Okay, now for the sneak peek for tomorrow. LPL, Ultra Prime, RNG, Ultra Prime 4-4, coming off of a loss to LNG. RNG, 17th in the power rankings, 4-4, coming off of a win against EDG. Last time they played in spring, RNG won 2-0. The only matchups that remain the same are the top jungle. Breathe and Wei went 12-4-37, 979 DPM. 38% of the team's damage share in the win. Harry Ning went 3-17-11, 640 DPM, so 330 less, and 340 less pretty much, and 42% of the share. So higher share, a lot less damage, a lot more deaths. That was a big diffy the last time these two teams played. Rare Atom EDG, Rare Atom 3-5, coming off of a win against IG. EDG 13th in the power rankings, 3-5, coming off of a loss to RNG. Last time they played, EDG won 2-1. The matchups that are the same are jungle mid. JJ Fofo went 25-8-31 for 1,167 DPM, 44% of EDG's damage. Lan and Strive went 8-18-15 for 635 DPM, so just over, roughly 530 DPM less. That's quite a big amount. That's almost double Rare Atom's damage, and 34%. So the jungle mid duo were more important to EDG's damage share than that of Rare Atom. They found their damage elsewhere, and even then, they didn't deal, nearly as much. Lastly, LNG IG. LNG 7th in the power ranking, 6-3, coming off of a win against Ultra Prime. IG 1-7, coming off of a loss to Rare Atom. Last time they played, LNG won 2-1. The only matchup that is the same is the support roles. Everything else is not the same in terms of matchup. One team on either side has a different player. Hung, 0644, 6% of damage in the win. Wink, 31118, 10% in the loss. So, supports, right? That is what it is. LCK, Nongshim, 1-4, lost to KDF against DRX, who are 0-5, coming off of a loss to Gen G. Last time they played, DRX won 2-1. Based on the lineups these teams used the last time they played on the Rift, everything but AD carry is the same as the last time they played. So, we're going to compare topside. Rascal went 9-7-14 for 31% of damage in the win, leading DRX. Din 5-8-14, 22% in the loss. After that, we have HLE and Bro. HLE 11th in the power rankings, 3-2, coming off of a win against Live Sandbox. OK Bro 1-4, coming off of a loss to Live Sandbox. Last time these two teams played, HLE won 2-1. Everybody remains the same except mid for Bro. So Viper went 7-5-17, 30% of damage in the win. Henna 7-5-10, 31% of damage in the loss. So both AD carries, similar impact and share, similar KDAs. And we'll see how that goes tomorrow. The LCK matchup's not that strong. Frankly, despite the records being the way they are, these matchups aren't that strong. I looked at the next week. We had a lot of fun games today. LPL, we don't have another like marquee matchup between two top 10 teams or so until next Sunday. LEC, XL, BDS, XL 1-3, BDS 2-2. Last time they played, BDS won. Crowny 7-2-5, 23% of damage in the win. Patrick 5-3-3, 36% of damage in the loss. After that, Astralis, Vitality, both 1-3. Vitality 23rd in the power rankings. Last time they played, Vitality won 2-0. Bo, gapped 1-1-3, going 23-5-26, 29% of damage, leading the way for Vitality in the win. 1-1-3 went 2-15-14 for only 10%. So you had a carry and a glorified support in that one. Bo, big jungle diff there. Heretics, Koi. Heretics 21st in power rankings, 3-1. Koi 1-3. Last time they played, Koi would win. We're going to compare top jungles here. Sisgenda Malrang went 12-7-17 for 1,742 DPM. Sisgenda had like 1,400 DPM in the win. 49% of the damage. Evie Yankos 13-7-14, so the KDA was very close, but 1,129 DPM. 600 DPM less in one game. That's a lot of damage, right? That is a ton of damage. And 37%, so half the damage was for Koi, 1/3, 2/5 for Heretics, finding more damage elsewhere relative to Koi. We have G2 SK, G2 14th in the power rankings, 3-1, SK 1-3. Last time they played, G2 1-2-0. Exakick went 6-6-5, 29% of damage in the loss. Hansama 7-3-17, 20% of damage in the win. So Exakick much more important to his team in the damage department than Hansama when they played in that one. And to finish us off for the day, Mad Lions and Fnatic. Mad Lions 16th in the power rankings, 4-0. Fnatic 22nd at 3-1. Last time they played, Mad Lions won 2-1. We're going to compare top side of the Rift and mid lane. So Chasey, Elyoya, and Niski went 31, 26, and 102 assists. For 1,254 DPM, 58% of the team's damage. So about 3/5 of the team's damage came from those roles. A lot of assists, a lot of facilitating. Oscarinin, Razor, Humanoid went 28, 47, and 70 for 1,658 DPM. So losing side, 400 DPM more. But 66% of the damage. So 2/3 of their damage came from these players, where Mad Lions is 3/5. That 6% difference, probably a factor. The bot lane of Mad Lions finding a way to be more impactful. So that's it for the roundup today. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.